What's going on, everyone? We are kicking off another project. We recently purchased this house and have this spot dedicated right here for a shed. I'm actually going to use it as a workshop. So what I'm going to do a little bit different on this one is I've had quite a few comments for people telling me that they'd like to have a little more how-to, what's the thought process. So we're going to go ahead and get some work done. So the first thing you need to think about is the space you have to work with. I've already identified that this is the location that I want the shop to be in. So I called the city. I found out that I need to be 3 feet from that fence, 3 feet from this fence. I have a pretty healthy height limit of 15 feet. I need to be 2 feet away from the house. So first thing I'm going to do is mark those off and see exactly what size of a shop I'm going to be able to build. As I lay out the area, let's talk a little bit about a shed base. A shed base is essentially whatever the floor frame rests on. And when I say shed, I really mean any type of accessory structure. In many cases, in fact, probably most cases, a floor frame will rest directly on 4x4 pieces of treated lumber or skids. They may be leveled up with a few cement blocks or bricks. However, if you want something more stable and long-lasting, you could format it after a deck with deck blocks, maybe some posts cemented into the ground, or you could format it after a home with cement footings or a concrete slab. In this case, I decided to go with a gravel base, so I need to remove all of the sod and get it prepped. I thought it would be a good idea to save a little bit of money and do this all by hand, but I'm pretty sure I regretted that immediately. Whoever said that the world needs ditch diggers, that's not me. This sucks. You know? Maybe asking, what goes through your mind when you're doing something like this? Like, is there really a return on this investment? Shovel goes in, knee hurts. Penny saved, it's a penny earned. Unless, of course, I end up in the hospital, then that pretty much defeats that. Now that I have the area cleared out, I'm going to put in my wood perimeter. It does serve a few purposes. One, it creates a nice transition piece between the lawn and the gravel base, but it also serves as the retention wall for all the gravel inside of the pit here. These need to be secured into the ground. I'm going to be using rebar to pound those in so they do not move in or out. As far as joinery, I've decided to 45 or miter the corners into a 45 because I like the look of the picture frame. There's lots of different joinery you can choose, really up to you. I'm going to use some Simpson ties underneath them to hold them together. But again, I'm going to go ahead and try and picture frame this out, get it ready for the gravel. You may be wondering why some of this retention wall is stacked. Well, most lawns slope away from the house, so I needed to build up the back to make sure it is level. We got the gravel under all of the ground contact spots. We even put some rock. I threw a cinder block in that back corner because I just figured there's a lot of weight back there, and I like to have it all shored up. So right now I have a bunch of fill dirt. I'm gonna fill this in. I'd like about 4 inches of gravel for this. So I'm gonna do as much fill dirt as I can, so that top 4 inches is the gravel, and that'll be it. Backfill soil is in. Up here in the front, I did not need to do any backfill. That's as much I want to actually have all of that be gravel. So I kind of wish I had a little bit more backfill, but let's face it, I'm not moving any more dirt. I'm gonna add another yard of gravel to my order to fill this all the way up. The next thing I need to do is put down the landscaping paper to help with weeds, and then it's ready to put into gravel. There we have it, gravel base for the shop. It is ready for the floor, so I'll get started on that soon. Hopefully this video will help you in building your own shed or shop or some sort of accessory structure. But other than that, this one's ready for the building, and I'll get started on that soon, so stay tuned for that one.